Welcome to the Shadow Signal, the frequency of the unknown. I'm Josh Rutledge.
And I'm Stefan Gearhart. Together we dive deep into high strangeness, UFOs, cryptids, the paranormal, psychic phenomenon, and the hidden truths that echo just beneath the surface.
Somewhere between reality and myth lies the signal. Can you hear it?
Tune in. The Shadow Signal is live. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another figgity fantastic episode of The Shadow Signal. I am your host, Stefan Gearhart, and I am joined, as always, by the lovable Mr. Josh Rutledge. How are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty well, man. You know, it's busy. It's summertime. My kids are out of school. They're pestering me every day, getting on my last freaking nerve. And then we got, stuff coming up for them, dance recitals and
whatnot,
basketball games and all this kind of stuff. And it's nice to be busy. But at the same time, sometimes I just want to sit on my ass and play video games. You know what I'm saying?
I completely agree. I understand. My daughter is now in dance class on Wednesdays, plus I still got improv. I've got everything under the moon stuff going on, and and then we had celebrated the 250th anniversary of Independence Day this past week,
the day we wrote our Dear John letter to England.
Yep, it worked out for us, I guess.
We'll see.
We'll see.
It's an ongoing experiment.
Anyways, we got a great episode for you guys tonight. But to kick things off first, we're going to start, as always, with the psychic word of the week.
And now, the psychic word of the week.
Psychic word of the week is brought to you by the Encyclopedic Psychic Dictionary by Dr. June G. Bletzer. That's right, PhD. I love you, honey bun. I miss you, and I never even knew you. One of these days, I swear, I will get the Ouija board out, and I will contact you to see if you've got any updates on your Encyclopedic Psychic Dictionary. But anyways, I flipped through the pages, landed on page 660, and the term that I landed on today, Josh, is called up for grabs.
Sounds like one of those money things where it's like the booth with the swirling money.
Oh yeah, like the shoe carnival used to do.
Yeah, you get in there and you can grab whatever you can grab and shove it into various places, and then that's what you get. That's probably not what it is.
Don't want to shove that into various
psychic
places.
You shove it into psychic places. That's psychic what the book, places.
Yeah. No, here's what Dr. Bletzer said. She said, up for grabs is to leave one's psychic doors open in everyday activity. When done without proper preparation and choice of time and place, it exposes one to psychic attacks from other psychics, knowingly or unknowingly, and from the etheric world inferior and earthbound entities. Frequently results in illnesses, fatigue, and erroneous information. So
basically, when we talk about shielding and grounding and doing that as a part of a daily practice, everybody who doesn't do that, they're open to just all this crap.
They've left their energy up for grabs.
Yep.
Where's Pee Wee Herman to yell the word of the day?
Yep. I'm sitting in my cherry right now.
Ooh. Is that where you put the dollar bills?
Yeah.
Erroneously.
in all of the orifices. Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, I mean I think last episode was shielding, or the episode before.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that's what was popped up. It's almost like Dr. Bletzer is trying to remind us that we need to shield.
Yeah.
We need to take care of ourselves psychically so that we don't get attacked.
Well, and it's not like, a lot of people think, I'm not psychic, but everybody is to some degree. And so, maybe don't think about it as being psychic. Maybe just think about it as like you're leaving one of your senses, right?
Open.
Open,
Up for grabs.
right. You would protect your hearing, You would protect your eyes if doing something that where your eyes are in danger. So
I mean,
yeah.
everybody's gone to a party before
Oh
and
yeah.
found themselves, even if they just sat there on their phone the whole time, found themselves completely drained by the end. Why?
Yep.
You're drained of energy, which means you believe in energy.
Yep.
So,
Yep. Yep.
and that's
Absolutely
why we
agree.
need to shield so you're not
Yep.
so drained.
That's right. That's right.
So
I
don't leave your stuff up for grabs.
if you're a Harry Potter fan, really easy, cast your Patronus.
Mm-hmm.
That could be a form of shielding. You
Yep.
could make it fun, whatever you need it to be. It
Yep.
doesn't have to be all woo all the time.
Nope.
You can make it whatever you need it to be. You
Yep.
could
You
pretend
can
that
use
there's
the force.
you could pretend that your Patronus is sitting there, and whenever anybody's attacking you for energy, instead they get your Patronus, whatever.
Yep.
But yeah, you can make it fun. So it doesn't have to be all, I don't believe in the woo stuff. Well, then you're going to constantly be drained at the next party you go to.
Yep. Or just by grandma when she comes over for tea.
Yep.
And
Or
she's
that
just
one,
talking to you about Mary Ann.
or that one coworker.
Oh yeah. Man, what if you're that one coworker?
Oh, yeah.
Oh man.
Well, but I shield, so hopefully I'm not actually sucking the life force out of anybody else. So
Yeah, do you shield both ways or just one?
I don't really go both ways. So personal preference.
Tell that to your cherry. All right. Well, let's move on. I don't think we have any interrupted transmissions this week, this month. Just like we said, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
And we even try to look up some spooky news. There's not a lot going on.
There's not a lot
in
going
the
on
paranormal
there.
realm either.
Yeah.
So
now, it's possible that all the spooky stuff that would have been in spooky news in the past is all just kind of commonplace now, and so
yeah,
maybe that's why nobody really reports on it as being spooky stuff. I don't know. But yeah, it just seems to be slow. It's a slow point. It's the slow point before the veil starts thinning, though,
Yeah.
and then stuff will start to pick up again.
yeah. Well, I guess Donald Trump thought he talked to Teddy Roosevelt. That was pretty woo.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Yeah. He said he had a full conversation with Teddy Roosevelt.
Interesting.
So,
Interesting.
So,
Yeah.
anyways, Google that one. Have fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, since we don't have anything going on, let's just go ahead and move on to our very interesting main topic this month.
The main story. Yep.
All right.
So,
Josue, what we got?
the main event. All right. So, we're going to be talking about the very odd case that happened in Ossett, which is a Yorkshire town. It basically is the kind of was sorry?
In England?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I don't think there's a Yorkshire in
Yeah,
the US.
I bet you there is. I'm gonna
Well,
look it up.
I mean, there's like our friend the theologian. His childhood home was in Yorkshire, but that was a neighborhood, so I don't think
Right.
I don't think that was would be considered. But anyways, let's see. On the morning of October 6th, 1974, a police officer in the quiet Yorkshire town of Ossett came upon a sight he said he'd never forget. A man, naked, drenched in blood, wandering the street in silence. Inside the house behind him, his wife was dead. The night before, a church had tried to drive the devil out of him, and they failed.
Yep, I know this case.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
This is a messed up case, man.
yeah, and we're going to get into it a little bit towards the end, but there's like a lot of kind of questions around like ethical accountability, but we'll get there in a little bit. So we got Michael Taylor, who is 31 years old. He lived in the Havercroft district of Ossett in West Yorkshire with his wife Christine and their 5 children. Friends and neighbors described the family as cheerful and happy. It's always like that. He was such a quiet, happy type, so.
Yep. I
Um,
mean, yeah, rarely are you ever like, yeah,
yeah,
this guy was destructive
you
from the
know,
get-go.
the very first day that I met him, I knew he was going to be an axe murderer. Like
Yeah.
nobody ever says that.
No, but it's like this book I'm reading right now. It's not it's a fiction book, but it's about possession and things like that. And that's one thing the demon talks about, or the priest in there talks about, is that demons want to find
Yeah.
people that are good and everything is good because that is more destructive.
Well, yeah. If
Yeah.
your goal is to create chaos,
Hmm.
then taking someone who is as far from chaos as possible and then creating chaos with that person, imagine the energetic exchange that's happening there.
Yep. So needless to say, I think the lesson here is if you want to not be possessed, be chaotic.
Yeah. Be a gray Jedi.
Yeah,
That's
be
the
a gray Jedi. There you
there you
go.
go. So he was often described as being mild mannered, kind, and a loving father and husband. It was noted that he sometimes was prone to minor, like, bouts of depression,
Yeah.
which was stemming from a severe back injury he had sustained several years earlier, which kind
Well,
of left him in like this chronic pain situation.
that'll do it,
Yeah,
especially back then.
yeah. The Taylors were not deeply religious, but in 1974 they sought community and found it in a local Christian fellowship group, which was just kind of described as a charismatic prayer group that would,
Yeah.
kind of put these things in motion.
Right.
Which I kind of wonder, like, if we've had a lot of discussion in the past around the possibility of things being demonic versus just being lower energetic vibrational
Hmm.
beings that in our religious construct we label them demonic. But regardless of what it is, there's always in religion there's always this notion that demonic entities cannot enter a church. However, given how much so many churches face in the form of just really bad actors on the people who are involved in the church, work at the church, lead the church, whatever
Right.
the case may be, makes you wonder if the church is really that sacred place that religion portrays it as.
Yeah.
So maybe this prayer group was not so safe in the first place.
Well, especially, this was this Anglican or Catholic? I can't remember.
uh
Um,
I th-
either way,
I think it's Catholic because they tried to do an exorcism, and I don't
well, the
think.
Anglicans would do that as well. They're essentially the Episcopalians.
Well, the
Um,
name of the church is Saint Thomas's.
Again,
So
still
yeah,
could be. But anyways, regardless, like either of those aren't very charismatic, and you try to throw in charismatic evangelical style
yeah,
into that type of religion where demons are heavily a part of that, it
yeah,
can turn crazy.
right. Did is it a situation perhaps where um the further or not furthered the fervent belief in demons
Hmm.
gives them a foothold to
Right.
exist or to thrive. So anyways, so Michael threw himself into the prayer group. He
Yeah.
attended every meeting, every function. You and I, growing up in a youth group in a church, know
Hmm.
what this means, right?
Yep.
Um, it's almost like you have such a want to be a part of something meaningful that you throw every ounce of what you have into it.
Oh yeah. I mean, for example, I grew up Catholic, and then I became Southern Baptist when I met you guys, joined that youth group, and got
Yeah,
very charismatic. And that, to be honest, that gave me a massive fear of demons and things like that.
mm,
Like, I was extra scared. I would go to sleep at night just scared because, yeah, they say for every demon there's two angels, but that meant there was still 100 demons in the room.
yeah. You know what? Not to get too far off topic here, but I think it's really interesting that um, a lot of you know, Catholic churches have gargoyles.
Hmm.
Gargoyles are often depicted in a way that, you know, the more charismatic faiths would call demons.
Right.
But it's interesting that in a lot of those Catholic churches, that old Catholic churches, those gargoyles are there to protect the church.
Right.
So it's like, are they demonic, or just because something looks menacing, does that necessarily make it
Right.
demonic? So
Yeah, I don't know.
I would love to talk to some, Catholic historian person sometime to figure out like where all that comes from. But anyways,
Yeah.
so he, like I said, he started going to every meeting. He quickly fell deeper into the teachings of a Marie Robinson, who was a lay preacher who was attending those meetings where group members were exorcised and demons were cast out. So it's like you go to a prayer group. When you're there, you meet somebody who's even more charismatic than the prayer group,
Hmm.
and they tell you, hey, you might have a demon. I'm going to cast that demon out of you. It's kind of like when you go like a new age place and
Yeah.
somebody's like, oh, it looks like you've got a negative entity attached to you. I'm going to go ahead
Yep.
and get rid of that thing for you. So um, it's kind of like, oh, that's cool. However, when you really think about it, it'd be the same thing as like you go to the grocery store and this
Yeah.
guy walks up to you and is like, oh, it looks like you have a cyst on your arm, and just whips out a pocket knife and is like, let me take care of that for you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like really think about, we were talking about the whole idea of energy and stuff before we got into the topic. Really think about like who you let operate on you energetically.
Yep.
It's like a
I didn't even think about how the psychic word was going to relate, but yeah, I mean, it's like Michael's already leaving himself up for grabs.
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep.
Ain't no money booth in this one though.
Nope.
Energy booth. So, anyways, Marie Robinson began offering private meetings to Michael, during which the two would sit across from each other, making the sign of the cross, sometimes for 8 or more hours,
Jeez.
in a ritual they believed would nullify the evil power of the full moon. It's amazing
Lord.
how much like um pagan stuff, and remembering that pagan just means anything that's not Christian,
Yeah.
but how much like just non-Christians spiritual related practices influence people who are of the very charismatic
Yeah.
faiths as being like those things are evil or whatever, when
Yeah.
in all actuality most of the Christian faith probably has a lot of its root in those pagan practices. So
Yeah.
but anyways, so Christine Taylor, that's Michael's wife, told the group that she believed Michael's relationship with Robinson was carnal in nature.
Mm.
Michael admitted he felt evil within him and was encouraged to work the issue out with Robinson. The two entered a bedroom alone, where Taylor made a pass at Robinson and
Oh no.
was rejected. Robinson then related his behavior to the group, including his wife, and Taylor verbally attacked Robinson, who screamed
Lord.
back at him. The episode of jealousy, rejection, and public humiliation appeared to mark a turning point.
Yeah. Which it would.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. During the next meeting, Michael received an absolution, but his behavior continued to become more erratic.
Right, because this dude was essentially ready to lose his wife.
Yeah. I mean,
But then in the spirit of the group, he had to come clean and
right.
confess everything.
Yep.
And then he's embarrassed
He's
by
like,
twofold
like,
because
you know,
she
like
said no.
that whole idea around like public confession is just so weird. Like,
Yeah, it's weird.
like, hey guys, I got to confess I went to White Castle, like,
Yeah. Hey.
you know? Anyways, that was an inside joke for anybody who's listening. Um, so anyways, so the church's leaders gathered and concluded that Michael was the victim of demonic possession and needed to undergo an exorcism.
And I did look up the St. Thomas's is Anglican,
Okay,
not Catholic.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, honestly, this feels not Catholic. This whole thing,
yeah. But
like
I mean, like I said, Anglican's not far from it. I mean, they're very similar.
yes, but like typically, you in a Catholic church, you would have confessed to a priest, not to your prayer group.
Oh, exactly. And you would have to get permission from the diocese and
Yeah. So
all kinds of crazy stuff.
So, Michael is convinced that he was possessed by more than 40 demons.
Oh, Legion, here we come.
And church leaders summoned him to a prayer meeting on October 5th, 1974. Father Peter Vincent and Reverend Raymond Smith met Michael at St. Thomas's Church in Galber. I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah.
The prayer group was also in attendance. How weird is that? Like you're going to an exorcism and your entire prayer group is there. I mean, that's like, talk about laying yourself bare.
Yeah. And what's interesting too is Reverend Raymond Smith was a Methodist clergyman. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Really mixing stuff up here.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, we got the kid down from 7-Eleven. He's got, he
started his own religion in his garage.
It's 7-Eleven heaven.
There you go.
Over the next 8 hours, they performed the sacred rite of exorcism. Now, see, I always thought exorcism was something that could only be done by a Catholic church. Kind of like you can't call it champagne unless it's made for that specific area in France.
Yes and no. I mean, if you look at the Warrens were kind of given special permission to exorcise demons. But no, technically any religion can exorcise a demon, but traditionally it's Catholics.
Okay.
So, but yeah, and I don't know if you mentioned this or not, but I remember this from when I was researching this, that among the 40 demons, they were like specifically like sin demons. So they were like incest, bestiality, blasphemy, lewdness, gluttony, stuff like that. Those type of deadly sin demons.
Okay.
So
yeah, I don't have that in my research, but thank you for including that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, actually, I do have that. It was in the next paragraph.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
See?
Yep. So when they started doing this rite of exorcism, Michaels began thrashing, convulsing, and spitting, and he had to be tied to the floor of the church. Jeez. A crucifix was jammed into his mouth.
Oh my God.
And he was completely soaked with holy water. So here it is. The priest claimed the ceremony had managed to identify around 40 demons inhabiting Michael's body, representing traits such as incest, bestiality, blasphemy, lewdness, heresy, masochism, and carnal knowledge.
Jeez.
Each allegedly dragged out, kicking and screaming. By 8 a.m. on October 6th, the priests could not continue. They were exhausted. They stated that they had cast out more than 40 demons, but that the exorcism would have to be finished at a later date. They advised Michael not to worry. Only 3 demons remained to be exorcised.
Oh, no big deal.
Murder, madness, and violence. Just 3.
Just 3 easy ones.
Why can't you leave bestiality? What's the harm there?
Yeah.
Some goat loses its virginity. I mean, worse things have happened.
Jeez.
So they sent Michael and his wife Christine home. At home, Michael turned on his wife.
Jeez.
And in an especially brutal attack, he tore Christine's eyes and tongue out with his bare hands,
Jesus.
then killed and dismembered the couple's dog.
Jeez.
A police officer was among the first on the scene and is reported to have said, "You don't want to see this one, son. I've seen nothing like it before, and I've seen a few."
So
Taylor
he's
was
just wandering around, right, at this point
Yep.
after he kills his wife and
Yep.
dog.
Taylor
Naked,
was
so apparently lewdness stayed in there as well.
lewdness stayed in there. So Taylor was found by police naked in the street, covered in blood.
Jesus.
He told investigators that the exorcism and previous night had failed. He said, quote, "They were too late," he said. "I was compelled by a force within me to destroy everything living within the house. All that's interesting." So, Michael Taylor is obviously arrested.
Right.
He's charged with the murder of Christine Taylor and remanded to Broadmoor Secure Hospital in Berkshire to await trial. He was reported to spend most of his time in silence or sleeping. The case became a media sensation. Horror such as this belonged in fiction, and the bloody crime, coupled with the background of exorcism and alleged demonic possession, drew huge amounts of interest. The defense did not argue possession. The defense lawyer cast blame squarely at the feet of the prayer group and the priests, stating that the group had exacerbated an already cracking mind and calling the whole episode "neurotics feeding neurosis to her neurotic."
Right.
Michael Taylor was acquitted at trial due to reasons of insanity.
Surprised they left that demon in there, so.
Yep. He received psychiatric care for 4 years before being released back into the public.
Jeez.
So, Michael Taylor was eventually released from Broadmoor after being deemed no longer a danger to the public. He expressed deep remorse for Christine's death and maintained that he had no memory of the attack.
Right.
Marie Robinson and the fellowship group disbanded.
Surprise.
Surprise. The ministers involved defended their actions, maintaining that Taylor had been genuinely possessed and that the murder was the work of the demons they had failed to expel. The case sparked debate in England about the practice of exorcism. The Church of England subsequently issued guidelines requiring that any exorcism be conducted only with the authorization of a bishop and with proper medical and psychological assessment beforehand. Whether Michael Taylor was possessed by supernatural evil or the demons of mental illness, the ritualistic treatment he received failed catastrophically. The case remains a cautionary tale about the intersection of religious belief, psychological distress, and violence.
Yep. And even the Catholic Church, this is where the Catholic Church I agree with. The Catholic Church always puts out there first to try to find out psychologically things first.
I mean, we know that he had chronic pain. He had bouts of depression.
And if I remember correctly too, I think like around this time, it was like a depression in England going on, like monetary. So money was tight. He's got 5 kids.
Yeah. Well, mid 70s. I mean, it was that way in the U.S. for sure. I mean, the whole gas crisis of the 70s was in the U.S., so I would imagine it was something similar like that in the U.K. So, one of the kind of questions that I had written down here is, do you, like in your studies, what you've encountered, things that you've seen, do you feel like it was demonic possession, or do you think it was just mental illness?
Oh, this case, I think, is 100% mental illness. And I think he was pushed in that direction with everything that happened and everything leading up to it and everything. And like, faith is a scary thing sometimes. And if he's believing that he's possessed,
Yeah. And
like that's going to drive you insane.
he's basically in an echo chamber,
Yeah, he's in
being
an echo
reassured
chamber.
all the time. Yes, you're possessed. These things are real. They can possess you. Your actions are not your own, so on and so forth.
Like I believe like the reason he murdered his wife is that he believed she had demons in her, and that
Yeah.
was the only way to get them out of
Get them
her,
out. Yeah.
and things like that. Like that, he lost his mind. Now, do I think he should have been released 2 years later? Mm-mm.
No. No, I
Like,
like even if he's doing well in the psychiatric hospital, like if he's, quote unquote doing well, um I just like I don't know. I feel like somebody like this, should at least at a minimum be required to, and maybe he did. I don't have this in my details, but maybe he was required to, still in like an outpatient program,
yeah,
participate for some period of time.
yeah,
I don't really know how the law and the court system work in the UK versus the US.
yeah,
Um, I know that's often the case in the US. If you're, retained by a psychiatric, like an internal thing, or what's it called, inpatient. Um,
yeah,
Even when you are quote unquote released, you're still required to go to outpatient stuff. The
yeah. I'm
thing that I
trying
think,
to go
sorry, go
ahead.
ahead.
No, you can go ahead.
The thing that I think really bothers me about this, and I is just this whole notion that somehow, um, like how much faith, like I understand having faith in a spiritual belief, or having faith in a religious practice, but how much of that faith is then just kind of automatically filtered down to the people within the faith, like the clergy, or a deacon, or anybody, like, because when you look at some of those people, like, you could literally come off of the street, um, have a desire to be something more in a faith, work
Mhm.
your way into that position within the church, and now you command great reverence without really providing anything to anybody that you've earned that.
Yeah,
And it's not just within traditional religions. I mean, we see this with New Age stuff. There are
yeah,
people in New Age circles who command this, respect and reverence, but really haven't provided a lot of bona fides to support
yeah.
that claim.
Yep.
I
It's
mean,
just
sorry, go ahead.
nah. Just I was agreeing with you. It's just wild what
I mean,
people will believe in easily.
well, and like I do dowsing rod stuff, and I help people work through things, and I always have like a really hard time, and I will include a disclaimer oftentimes to say, hey, whatever I give you is not for you to then just take and go follow. It's for you to kind of review it, discern, talk with somebody, see
Yeah,
what other, like,
reflect on.
but there's always that concern that, like, somebody's going to ask me a question, and dowsing rods are going to say yes for something or no for something. They're going to take that as a stamp of approval and go out and do something that ruins their lives or somebody else's life. And that kind of stuff just weighs really heavily on me. And I just wonder, if that kind of thing weighs heavily on people that are in more traditional, faith settings.
Yeah. Well, something I think about too that's extra scary was there were 5 kids
Yeah.
that could have been at home,
Oh, yeah.
but luckily they were sent to their grandparents or wherever. And if they had been home, would the kids have lost their lives?
Yeah.
That's what scares me the
Yeah.
most.
Yeah. I mean, that's, and like the fact that they basically, these kids lost their mother in a very gruesome, horrible way.
Mhm.
Um, and the fact that, um, like, I'm glad. I don't think this case has spawned a movie. Is that correct?
No, it's been mentioned and kind of used in things, but not been the main focus. No.
Okay. So at least the five kids don't have the pop culture, kind of reference hanging
Shoving
over their
it. Yeah,
heads
it's
over
not
time.
a Conjuring film.
Right. Yet anyway.
Like
So,
it was mentioned in the third Conjuring movie because it the third Conjuring movie is The Devil Made Me Do It. Conjuring, the one about the guy that used that case to say the devil made him do it.
yeah.
This was the second case around the same time saying the devil made me do it,
And that
essentially.
that the Devil May Be Doing case, that was the what Arnie Johnson, is that right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
mean this case I think predates that Arnie Johnson case by like 6 years or so, 7 years, something
Yeah,
like that.
they're not far from each other. So,
But
um,
yeah, it just, I guess, the takeaway for me in this case and many others like it is that, like, if there's one word that could sum up a way to have prevented some of this from happening, it would be discernment. Like, if somebody
yeah,
had been in a position to pull him aside and be like, dude, I don't know if the stuff that you're getting from this prayer group is really helping you.
yeah. Well, get this. So I did some research onto where is Michael Taylor today,
Yep.
right? Nobody knows where he is, but he did pop up in 2015 in the news cycle again because he got caught being indecent, doing indecent behavior towards a young girl, and he
Mm.
faced the law for this. And again, managed to somehow get away with it and was given community service.
Mm.
So he, whatever he did with this little girl or tried to,
Yeah.
whatever, he got out of it. But I know the one thing he has said was that since then he's tried to commit suicide at least 4 times, and just different things. But yeah, nobody knows where he's at. He'd be about 80 years old
Yeah.
today. So
The other thing is, and this may not go over well, but I'll just say that I agree that there are dark energies, right? I mean, I've definitely experienced some stuff that's like not as it's attached to a person, but just some stuff that has come in my life that has been negative, low vibration, whatever.
sure.
But I think that it's a very slippery slope. If you if anybody tells someone who is doing horrible things that they're possessed by a demon, and so therefore their actions are not their own, because it basically gives them an escape, right?
Right.
It's a get out of jail free card in this guy's case, literally.
Yeah.
That he, that you're able to say, well, it's not me doing it, it's these demons I'm possessed by.
Yeah, it's these demons.
So I you know we have to hold people accountable and give them the treatment that they need in a non spiritual religious way.
Yeah.
You can include spiritual assistance along with psychological expense, assistance, but it should never be replaced.
Yeah.
Um,
And what sucks too is that, the priests, the priest and the Methodist pastor and all them, they were all on trial as well, essentially, and
yeah,
nothing happened to them
right,
whatsoever. I mean,
right.
he didn't lose his commission, like he didn't lose anything.
I know.
And that's the sad part.
And all that really happened is the group broke up.
Yeah, the group broke up.
That's it. Nobody faced any repercussions whatsoever.
Nope, none except for
Not
Michael,
even like,
which he needed to.
yeah. I
But
mean, I don't know what the time of act, whatever it's called, where you can go back and do things after the fact. But
oh yeah,
like, if anything, I would think that these people would be open to a civil case
right.
because of things that they just took it upon themselves to do. But going back to our youth group days, there were times we were in prayer groups. I'm sure you remember, and we
Mhm.
were asked to pray things, and we were, but like, that's why you just gotta be really careful because sometimes you think you're doing a good thing, especially again if you're in that echo chamber situation and all of
Yep.
your people around you are telling you this is the thing we need to do. Um, you know, if you ever anybody ever finds themselves in that situation, my best advice to you is to go to somebody who you know is not religious and explain to them what's happening and ask their opinion
Yeah.
and see if they give you the same response that your people in your group are saying.
Yeah.
And they don't have to necessarily follow what they say, but just see if they give you the same response. And if they're like, dude, that's effed up, take that, evaluate that, see if that's
Yeah.
really, what you need to be doing.
No, because prayer is essentially at the end of the day a form of energy exchange, and
Oh
you got
yeah.
all these people praying for you, saying all these things, and you've got your psychic shield up for grabs, so to speak,
Yep.
right? Then all that energy is just coming at you, and that I could see that happening to Michael Taylor. I could see that all that
Yep.
energy of all those people thinking that he's possessed and evil and
Right.
all of
Yep.
these things, putting evil energy into him.
Well,
So,
I remember we talked about it in a couple of, several episodes back. There was a word in the psychic dictionary, encyclopedia there that talked about getting a large group of people together, them all kind of thinking about and focusing on the same
mm-hmm,
thing, and the energy kind of well up that happens in that situation. So then, if that happens just in general, like I always picture like the praise band stuff we used to do,
sure,
and all this stuff. But if that is all then focused at a specific person, it's like shooting 1,000 arrows
yeah,
at somebody, and then that person thinking that they can dodge every single one of them.
yeah, right. Yep.
So, anyways, it is a really tough case. I feel of course horrible for the kids. I feel horrible for Christine. I mean
Yep.
the freaking dog. I mean it probably did nothing. you know.
Yeah. And I
Um,
want to recommend, if you're really interested in a deep dive into this case, there's a great podcast called The Devil Within. And I think it's the first season. It was first or second season, but it's the Demons of Yorkshire. And it is a deep dive into this case. And I highly recommend anybody that wants to go a little further to check that out and listen to that. That's the research where I did, and it's phenomenal. So I highly recommend a deep dive by going to that. It's on Spotify, it's on iTunes, all that stuff. Not a sponsor, but just a deep dive.
yeah, and then just one last thing I'll say, if anybody's listening to this, if you feel just horrible and you feel down and you feel like you're being attacked, or if you feel like whatever, and you just life is hard,
Yep.
I encourage you to call 988 from your phone, which is the suicide and crisis hotline,
Mm-hmm.
and talk to somebody, um, and they can help
Yep.
you get in touch with people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, um, you know, no one is beyond help.
Yep.
So,
Agreed.
all right.
Whew. Yep. On that note, I guess it's time to go on get and go hug my kid,
Yeah,
hug my
really.
wife, hug my kid. Before we go, Josh, you want to let them know about our new ad-free
Yeah.
uh
If you all like the show, but you don't like the ads that you get listening to the show,
we
um,
understand.
yep, you can go to our show on Spreaker, Spreaker, and on there we have for $7 a month. You get to listen to all of our episodes ad free. It's only listening through Spreaker, and so it's not doesn't transfer to whatever podcast platform you might be using now. But if you go to the our show on Spreaker,
Yeah.
you can listen ad free for just $7 a month, and maybe that's worth it to you. So,
Yep.
I appreciate everybody who does listen given the ads. There, We try to make them not as intrusive. But yeah, if anybody was just like, oh man, I wish this didn't have ads,
There you
Sprecher,
go.
look for the show, $7 a month, ad free.
Yep, ad free. And either way, it helps us out.
Yep.
So whether you listen to the ads or go ad free, helps us out. So
Yep.
we appreciate y'all so much. We love our listeners. We love you guys so much across the world. So we appreciate it. So, but Josh, let's go ahead and get out of here, man. Great job today.
Yep.
Like I said, I'm gonna go hug my wife and my kid.
Yeah, really.
So, but let's go ahead
sorry-
and get out of here.
Sorry for the low for the low feeling episode, but the next one will be high energy. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, we'll do that. And remember, shield up. Don't leave your energy up
Yeah.
for grabs, folks.
That's right.
But anyways, let's go ahead and get out of here. Thank you guys so much for listening to the Shadow Signal podcast. I've been Stefan, reminding you to stay in the shadow and listen for the signal.
And this has been Josh. The truth is now.
Good night, folks. We'll see you on the next one.
Good night.
Shields! Shields!
Shields up.
Shields up!
Deflect those shields at full power.
Expecto